All right, welcome everyone. Settle in. Today, we're jumping right into a brand new History 101 explainer, and we're looking at something pretty fantastic, the art of barbering and hair care in ancient Egypt. Now, when we usually think about the ancient world, it's so easy to just picture the grand monuments, right? The imposing pharaohs, those massive pyramids. But today, we're taking a closer look at the incredibly relatable, everyday rituals of the people who actually built that world. We're going to set the stage to explore the massive sociological and religious weight behind ancient grooming. Because as you'll see, a haircut in ancient Egypt, it was never just a haircut. It was literally a statement of your status, your spirituality, and your entire identity.
So here's our syllabus for today. First, we'll look at the ancient Egyptian aesthetic. Then we'll check out the tools of the barber. After that, combating the baldness stigma, followed by the purification of the priests, and finally, the legacy of barber Merimar.
All right, moving right into Module 1, the ancient Egyptian aesthetic, and why it was about so much more than just vanity.
You see, grooming was so deeply ingrained in their society that it even caught the eye of figures as powerful as Osiris, the god of death. It literally dictated how you were perceived in this life and, crucially, in the afterlife. Because of this, an ancient barber's clientele was incredibly broad. Men typically favored that completely clean-shaven look, but they also sported long hair, short crops, or even really elaborate wigs. And the barbers didn't just serve men either. There was distinct styling for women's hair and an entirely separate techniques just for children. To be an ancient barber meant you had to be a master of absolutely all aesthetics.
Which brings us to Module 2, Tools of the Barber, where we look at how they actually crafted these looks.
To achieve all that versatility, well, let's open up the archaeological record. The absolute essentials in the toolkit included the comb, the razor, and the metal mirror. The early razors actually evolved from basic sharpened flint into much more sophisticated copper and eventually bronze blades, which they needed to achieve that perfectly clean-shaven style. And honestly, the creation of the polished bronze or copper mirror, that was an absolute game changer. It allowed barbers to engage in incredibly precise daily grooming rituals, letting them constantly check their work to ensure every single hair was exactly where it needed to be.
Now, let's look at Module 3, Combating the Baldness Stigma, and some very ancient anxieties.
So as much as they had the tools to cut hair, they also had some really deep-seated anxieties about losing it. Because social pressures regarding appearance, those are truly timeless. Which brings up a question for you all. How do you think ancient Egyptians actually viewed baldness? In a culture that was just completely obsessed with aesthetics, youth, and vitality, what happened when nature simply took its course?
While the answer is pretty harsh, baldness was heavily looked down upon. It carried this massive social stigma that people were just desperate to avoid. But human ingenuity always finds a way, doesn't it? To hide a receding hairline, they went straight to their master barbers and wig makers. Elaborate wigs prepared from repurposed human hair, or sometimes even animal hair, were heavily utilized all across society to maintain the illusion of a full, youthful head of hair.
And this brilliantly illustrates our point. Check out this specific archaeological discovery from a working-class cemetery in Hierakonpolis. This dates all the way back to around 3500 BC. Guys, that is 5,500 years ago. Excavators found the body of a working-class male who was wearing a sheepskin toupee, and it was specifically placed to hide a bald spot. This wasn't just some vanity project for ultra-wealthy pharaohs lounging in their palaces. The anxiety over hair loss and the drive to use grooming tools and animal hair products to fix it went all the way to the working class.
Moving right along to Module 4, Purification of the Priests. This is where grooming gets extreme.
Transitioning away from everyday vanity, we enter the realm of rigorous theology. I want you to focus on the number 3. This isn't just a random digit. It represents a massive, almost unimaginable physical commitment made by the holy men of ancient Egypt.
The priests of the Amun temple were actually required to undergo total body hair removal. They removed literally all the hair from their bodies once every 3 days. So for these holy men, intense razor work wasn't about personal style at all. It was a strict mandate for spiritual purity before they could even set foot in the temple sanctuary. Just imagine the sheer amount of time spent with those bronze razors, going head to toe, maintaining a completely hairless state every single week just to remain pure in the eyes of the gods.
And finally, Module 5, The Legacy of Barber Merimar, an incredibly ancient profession. So we've seen the everyday aesthetics, those bronze tools, the hair loss anxieties, and the religious extremes. Now let's look at the individuals who actually wielded those tools. The barbering profession was considered so vital to society that it was immortalized in stone. Take a look at this magnificent sculpture of the barber Merrimat, which dates back about 3,200 years. You know, to have a sculpture commissioned means your profession held serious weight. Merrimat wasn't just trimming hair. He was managing social stigmas, crafting wigs, and facilitating the very purification rituals that kept the entire civilization beating.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on for your final exam. How do your own modern daily grooming rituals echo the tools, the anxieties, and the social pressures of ancient Egypt? The next time you look into your mirror or pick up a comb or razor, just remember that working-class guy in Hierarchin Polis with his sheepskin toupee, or those Aman priests shaving every 3 days. We really aren't so different from our ancestors after all, are we? All right, class, dismissed. Keep exploring.